Hi everyone, it's Corinne. Welcome back to Mindset Mondays and this first quarantine edition of Mindset Mondays. I'm coming to you from the side yard of my house, which is where I spend a lot of my time these days. So welcome back. I know I took a little hiatus from Mindset Mondays to run a massive version of my Getting Started as a Freelance Translator course. It was kind of crazy, but a lot of fun. And that has now wrapped up. So most of all, I hope all of you are doing okay. And I thought I'd do one more Mindset Mondays about the coronavirus, since that's all we talk about these days, and then go on to other topics, because I think then, all that can really be said about the coronavirus and coping will have been said by many other people, not just me. So I had two things that I thought might be helpful for all of us with this idea, as I called this episode, Staying Sane in an Insane Time. Because I think right now one thing that could be helpful, or at least is helpful to me, is to think about my business and personal lives in opposite ways. So I think it can be super helpful in your personal life and coping with coronavirus and the quarantine, to just focus on what's going on today. Now, this is with the caveat that if you or someone you love is sick, or if your work has completely gone to nothing and you didn't have much of a savings fund, then I don't mean this advice to sound sort of flippant, like you can just think your way out of that. You can't. But I think if you or someone you love are not sick, and if you still have a decent amount of work, or at least enough work to live off of, that thinking to yourself, in my personal life, I'm just going to focus on today, can be helpful. Because for me, at least, my personal life day to day is okay. I mean, it's boring, right? We don't go anywhere or do anything anymore. We take walks. We take very long walks. We lift weights in our basement. We hang out with our foster cats. But when I think, today was okay. My daughter and I took a, 3-hour walk, and then I came home and did some yard work, and hopefully we're getting a new foster cat soon, and it's doable. But when I feel overwhelmed is when I think about the bigger picture. When I think, this month my daughter is supposed to graduate from high school. My husband and I were thinking about doing a big trip to Europe for our 20th anniversary. When will things like that be able to happen again? And I think the answer is, number one, we don't know. And number two, probably a lot further in the future than any of us would hope for. So I think the solution there is then just focus on today. Just focus on being okay today. But in your professional life, I actually think it's helpful to do the opposite. So I'm not a public health expert by any means, but repeating the advice that all of us now have heard from many public health experts is some sort of social distancing is going to be necessary until we have a highly effective treatment or a vaccine for the coronavirus, which is probably going to be another year at least. So in your business life, I think you really want to be thinking, how can I set myself up to be as successful as possible in my business over the next year or even more? So for example, for myself, I think now is a terrible time to be looking for in-person interpreting work, but now is a really good time to be doing interpreting training so that I'm set up as well as possible. When all of this is, I don't want to say over, but when life is at least a little more back to normal. And look at the parts of your business that maybe have been doing well since the coronavirus. Like my international development translations are completely unaffected. I have 2 large projects that were planned before the quarantine hit and went ahead and is enough work for the next couple of months. So I actually intend to look for more work like that in case other projects like that don't come to me after those are over. I want to go out and actively look for those. So I just think that, it's a small thing, but to me that was really helpful to think, in my personal life, I'm just going to focus on being okay today in this moment. But in my business life, I'm going to think, especially for those of you, if you translate or interpret in a sector that has really gone to nothing, like travel and tourism translation, conference interpreting, and it could be a long time, months and months, if not a year, until those things really rebound, that I think you want to take the much longer view and say, how do I set things up now so that I am as successful as possible during that rebound time? So best wishes to all of you, and let's move on to another topic next week, okay? Thanks. Bye.